It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. You can email us as well at randykabc@gmail.com. That's randykabc@gmail.com. It is Friday. Friday means happy hour on the News Blitz. That's where we talk about food, we talk about drinking, we talk about traveling, adventure, enjoying ourselves. The weekend is upon us, and it's time to realize there are a lot more important things out there than politics. And today's going to be a real special show because I saw a wild headline that has kind of shocked me, but I'm not opposed to it. I'm just extra curious. See, I do a lot of research for this show and for the John Phillips Show, in that I subscribe to a whole bunch of local TV stations and see what they're doing, what's the news story out there. And I was kind of in shock when I saw that up in the Bay Area, a certain city is celebrating quite the feat. They're celebrating quite the award, quite the monument. The website Condé Nast Traveler, cntraveler.com, did a list of the best food cities in America. The best. This was voted on by 575,000 people, the 37th Annual Reader's Choice Awards. We're going to go through all the top 10, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you because, again, I'm not opposed to it. I just was surprised. The city that is the top food city in America for the Condé Nast Traveler voters is Oakland, California.
I said, hell no, baby boy. Let me get up on out of here.
Oakland.
It's a lot of crime now.
And you know what? The food could still be really good, even with all the crime. And I got to tell you, as somebody that's covered a lot of crime stories in Oakland, every time there is a story about a restaurant closing, the restaurant sounded amazing. Like this 40-year-old Vietnamese French fusion restaurant that just went out of business a few months ago because the owner couldn't take it anymore. So here's how we're going to play today, because I want to know, in your opinion, what you think is the best food city in the United States. In all 50 states, where is the best food city in this country? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. If you think it's Los Angeles, I love that. Totally tell us all why you think that. But if it's somewhere else in the country, maybe somewhere where you're originally from or somewhere that you've traveled to, where do you think is the best food city in the entire United States? Now, I know this is subjective, but hey, so is this poll, and I'm really curious. So I want to take your phone calls. You tell me what is the best food city in the country, because I have not traveled to nearly enough states, to nearly enough cities to really have an educated mind on this. But you probably have. You know, I have traveled to, let's see, I've born and raised in California. I have been to Texas. I have been to New York. I have been to New Mexico. I've been to Arizona. I have been to Nevada. That's not a whole lot. Oh, and I've been to Colorado. That's not a whole. I've been to Washington. That's still not a whole lot of states. There's a whole bunch of states I've never been to. So, well, I was in Florida for about 10 minutes before I went to Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico kind of counts because that's part of this country. That's a territory. In San Juan, the food is phenomenal. Oh, my goodness. The mofongo. I love it. So that's what I want to hear from you today. Where do you think is the best food city in California? No, not in California, in the country. Maybe you think it is Oakland. I'd love to find out. The next time I go up to the Bay Area, I'm going to have to do some investigating. Probably with security. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's go through the top 10 here. This is what the readers of the website Condé Nast Traveler had to say in the 37th Annual Reader's Choice Awards. There were 500,000 plus votes cast, and they say the number 10 most popular, the best food city in the country at number 10 is Philadelphia. I could see that. I love me a good cheesesteak, and I've never had one in Philadelphia because I've never been to Philadelphia, but that's got to be a bucket list thing. I'd love to go to Philly. So what do they say? If being the birthplace of cheesesteaks and hoagies wasn't enough of a culinary calling card, Philadelphia also happens to be one of the few cities where it is possible to enjoy life-changing Thai food, a mere 15-minute drive from life-affirming bowls of Casio e Pepe. You'll find restaurants and bars with well-deserved cult followings at every price point, from food trucks to fine dining. All right, well, I'm sold. Okay, I got to get my butt to Philly. That sounds great. I love Thai food. I'm going to do a whole show about Thai food maybe next week. Number 9 on this Condé Nast traveler list is Honolulu. While the capital of Hawaii still has a fair number of pricier restaurants that mainly cater to tourists, you also find embarrassment of riches when it comes to ultra-fresh poke, adobo, and Japanese izakaya-style bites. Some of the best food on the island of Oahu is also some of the most unpretentious and accessible. Now, I have not been to Honolulu. I haven't been to Oahu. I have been to Big Island, and I have been to Maui. And yeah, I can say the food, there's another state I've been to. The food on Maui, unbelievable. And the best thing, obviously, you know the poke is going to be good. The best poke is at the little Foodland grocery stores. You see a Foodland grocery store, you stop. Safeway good too, but Foodland, oh, you get a whole bunch of different pokés. Make sure if you get a hotel room that has a fridge, because that poke is good. But yeah, I would agree with that. That should definitely be in the top 10. I don't know if there's going to be much difference in the different areas of Hawaii, but I guess Honolulu is a city and Maui's really more of an island with some towns. Yeah, that one works for me. I'd say Hawaii in general kind of is its own category. Number 8 in the Condé Nast Traveler Top 10 Food Cities in the United States, Columbus, Ohio. Home to headline-making spots like James Beard Award-nominated chef Avsar Barua's Agni, was also one of Bon Appetit's top 20 restaurants in 2024, as well as understated, locally beloved restaurants like Ray Ray's Hog Pit. Columbus has something for every palate. The hospitality scene proudly honors the city's roots with social supper clubs and, of course, Buckeye Donuts, which has been in business since the 60s. It also simultaneously supports a robust migrant community that has brought show-stopping Vietnamese and Kenyan food to an enthusiastic audience of diners. Wow. Columbus, Ohio. You know what I know about Columbus? I know that Columbus became a really huge beer city, but I didn't know it was also a food city, so that sounds fun. Number 7, I think a lot of people can agree with this one, Chicago. Oh, that's on my list. I got to get my butt to Chicago. And why? Well, because I watched The Bear. I want that Chicago beef. You know, I get Lou Malnati's pizza shipped in from Chicago because we love that deep dish, but I'm sure it's way better to be there in person. So, yeah. Chicago for so many reasons, the obvious ones, but apparently it also has the world's only Michelin-starred Filipino restaurant. Who would have known that? All right, Chicago totally makes sense to be on that list. Number 6 is Milwaukee? No longer Chicago's less popular cousin, Milwaukee has a buzzy restaurant scene that has turned the city into a dining destination in its own right. It turns out the Midwestern hospitality is the perfect match for Serbian, Indian, and Persian cuisines, as evidenced by scores of new restaurants that showcase the city's diverse dining options. I would have figured Milwaukee, you'd have Culver's and Curds, and that's it. Who knew? Now I got to go to Milwaukee. While fewer cities have strong mid-price restaurant options nowadays, Milwaukee continues to champion the casual, accessible night out with beloved spots like Good Kind, a neighborhood restaurant with a cozy pub vibe. Wow, Milwaukee. Who'd have thunk? Again, this is all listed by voters, and it's all completely subjective because it's about what kind of food you like. But that's why I want to hear from you at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Where do you think is the best food city in the United States? Do you think it's Los Angeles? Do you think it's Oakland? Where do you think it is? 800-222-KABC. Number 5 on the list, Detroit. If you've enjoyed a slice of square pizza at a buzzy NYC or LA restaurant, consider it a testament to Detroit's growing culinary influence across the country. The city's most beloved spots, from Warda Patisserie to Baobab Fair, celebrate a range of cuisines from East African to French and Indian. The city's wine, beer, and cocktail scene has also been especially hot over the last year, with thanks to spots like the Vinyl Society, Bricks Wine, and the Speakeasy 1904. Wow. Detroit is a food city. I got a lot of traveling to do. All right, we're going to the South for this one. Number 4 is Lexington, Kentucky. Okay. What do you got for me in Kentucky besides bourbon? Even if you don't make it to one of the 14 bourbon distilleries in Lexington, many of the city's best restaurants have deep archival spirit libraries that you won't find anywhere else. Okay, I'm sold. From iconic local chef Weta Michaels' restaurant, which includes the Holly Hill Inn and Smithtown Seafood, both of which are must visits, Lexington's hospitality scene continues to fuse Southern tradition and innovation, including Sri Lankan restaurants. Wow. Okay. Now I got to go to Kentucky. I do want to do a bourbon trail trip at some point in my life. Would love to do that. Number 3, again, this is a very surprising list because I don't see San Francisco on here. I don't see New York. I don't see Los Angeles or even Miami. It's really fascinating. Again, this is reader picked and it could be skewed in certain ways, but I'm definitely interested. Number 3 is Chattanooga. Roughly 100 miles south of Nashville's Pedal Taverns and Hot Chicken Joints, you'll find a bustling restaurant scene in Chattanooga, Tennessee, which is quickly becoming one of the most interesting dining cities in the country. Locally beloved restaurants like St. John's, a white tablecloth affair that has been serving new American fare for almost 25 years in harmony with inventive spots like Calliope, home of some of the region's best Levantine cuisine. I don't even know what that is. Okay. Chattanooga, Tennessee. This list is fascinating. Number 2, okay, this one shouldn't surprise anybody. New Orleans. I mean, that is bucket list in that I need to go next year. I need to go ASAP. I've got family from New Orleans. My wife's family, her brother, my brother-in-law, his wife is from New Orleans. They went to college at Tulane. Oh my goodness, I want to go there. I actually was supposed to go for his graduation, but I had to stay home and watch the dogs, and I did not get to go to the Commander's Palace, and I want to go to the Commander's Palace. Yeah. New Orleans is on the list. And then number 1, Oakland. Oakland, California. I am fascinated by this choice, but again, I'm not opposed to it. There's no wrong neighborhood from which to start exploring Oakland's staggeringly diverse food scene. In Temescal, located in the north of the city, you'll find buzzy soul food spots as well as out-of-the-box pizzas, thinking toppings like Monterey-based squid and chanterelles. Fan favorite Pizzolio, Fruitvale, named after the fruit orchards that dominated this part of the town in the mid-19th century, is packed with taco trucks that serve some of the best birria in the country. The city also has a strong taproom and winery tasting scene, making it easy to plan your entire visit around eating or drinking or some combination of the two. Just be sure to look over your shoulder. So there you go. This was a reader-voted list. It's the 37th annual Condé Nast Traveler Top 10 Food Cities in America, and Oakland is the best. I am fascinated by that, and all I want to do is more research. But I want to do my own list right now, because I haven't been to nearly enough states. I have not been to nearly enough parts of this country that I could make a definitive list. But maybe you have. Maybe you're from somewhere. But I want to know, in your opinion, this is just your opinion, because food is subjective, taste is subjective. Where do you think is the best food city in the United States? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's start with Doug in Toluca Lake. Doug, hello.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. I listen to your show quite a bit, and no surprise, my adopted hometown was New Orleans, Louisiana, and I still put it first for a few reasons. The first reason is that the food that was developed over long, long periods of time in New Orleans, you basically cannot get anywhere else. You can go to a lot of these other cities that have multicultural influences, and you can get a lot of these same types of dishes. But if you really want to get New Orleans food, I have not been able to find it outside of New Orleans that's really good. And I have been recommended to a lot of places. But I lived in the French Quarter. I worked in a restaurant on Bourbon Street while I was there. And all the different food that comes from the history and the cultural influence of New Orleans, to me, is just unbeatable. It's not super complex. Well, some of it is. But that's my pick, and maybe I'm prejudiced because I live there, but it's And also, I wanted to tell you because, I listened to your show a while ago, and you, if I remember, had asked about what the best time is to go to New Orleans to visit. And I can tell you that the best time to go to New Orleans is after Mardi Gras and before Jazz Fest. And because Mardi Gras is a mess, and Jazz Fest happens around like April to the beginning of May. If you go after Mardi Gras and before Jazz Fest, you will get the best weather and no crowds because everyone that wanted to come is either going to come later or they've already come and gone. So that's my recommendation.
Oh, I'm putting that on the list. So March is the time to go. I love it. Now, Doug, what is your favorite dish in New Orleans?
My favorite dish is pretty simple. It's an oyster po' boy from Johnny's on St. Louis. But that's pretty simple. But try and find one anywhere else on Earth. You won't be able to.
That sounds incredible.
John,
that is going on the bucket list for sure. Doug, thank you so much for sharing. You've made me incredibly hungry in the last 2 minutes.
All right. Thanks a lot. Bye now.
Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. That's how we do it, baby. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Condé Nast Travelers, best food cities in the U.S. named Oakland, the best food city in the country. Where do you think, in your opinion, is the best food city in the United States? I want to hear about it. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. We'll go to Carla, Joe, Brian, David next, and you. Give us a call right now, 800-222-KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. It's Friday, it's happy hour, and today we're discussing the best food cities in the country. The website Condé Nast Traveler did their annual top 10 food cities in America. This is reader submitted, 575,000 votes cast, and the number one city was Oakland, California, which I'm fascinated by, and now I get to get my butt to Oakland. So I want to hear from you. What you think, in your opinion, is the best food city in the country. Maybe you're from there, maybe you live there, maybe you've just traveled there, maybe you got family there, maybe you think it is Los Angeles, but I want to hear from you. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to Carla in Torrance. Carla, hello.
Hello, Randy. How are you?
I'm doing great.
I'm glad that you took my call because I called in once before when you had the show about the best sandwiches. And I have to go by the same city I'm going to tell you about now. It's where I'm from, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We have some amazing restaurants that have, I haven't lived there in quite a while, but I have family and friends. And these restaurants have really stood the test of time. There's a place in Pittsburgh called the Lamont, and it's on a hill that overlooks the beautiful Three Rivers. It's just fabulous. People have parties there. They have dishes that are incredible. And it's just a place, if you haven't eaten in downtown Pittsburgh, in some of these places, if you do get a chance to visit there, I highly recommend it. Great seafood, great steaks, just great everything. And the people there are just really nice. You come back and people say, I'm so glad I went to Pittsburgh. It's just a very warm, welcoming town with good food.
Well, you've sold me. I got to add that to my list, and not just for the Permatis and the pierogies.
Right on. That's great. Yes, do it.
All right,
Thank
Carla.
you.
Thank you so much for the suggestion. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. We're talking about the best food cities in America. It's subjective. It's your suggestions. Tell me the best places to eat in this country. 800-222-KABC. Let's go to Brian in Thousand Oaks. Brian, hello.
Hey, Randy, how's it going?
Doing great.
So I travel all the time for work. I've got two cities that really jump to the top of my list when I'm on the road, Chicago and Denver. And when you're in Chicago, go to Mike Dicka's restaurant. He's there. The music's really, really good. The food's outstanding. Great atmosphere. But Chicago is a great food city. When you're in Denver, go to Takabe's Native American restaurant. the food is great. I mean, from the fry bread to all the proteins, it's fantastic.
Oh, wow. I do go to Denver at least once a year. That sounds awesome. I got to add that to my list. I love Native American food. Well, Brian, thank you so much for those suggestions. That's awesome. All right. Chicago, which I'm not surprised by. Denver, I don't think I went to Denver a couple Thanksgivings ago, and it's gorgeous there that time of year. It's gorgeous there all the time. And we did a lot of bar hopping, and some friends took us to some speakeasies. But yeah, I got to investigate that food scene just a little better. I remember we were driving back late at night, and we couldn't figure out what to eat because we had waited too long to get into the speakeasy. And so we ended up getting like Jack in the Box. But that's what I want to hear from you. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. What you think is the best food city in this country. 800-222-KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It is the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. We're here every single day from 5 to 6 talking about the local issues that matter to you most and taking your phone calls at 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Your emails as well at randykabc@gmail.com. That's randykabc@gmail.com. The website Condé Nast Traveler had their readers choose the top 10 food cities in the United States. Over 575,000 people voted in this, and the number one food city in the entire country, according to Condé Nast Traveler, is Oakland.
I said, hell no, baby boy. Let me get up on out of here.
But hey, that's only about the crime. The food scene, I have heard, is pretty damn fantastic in Oakland. But I want to know, in your opinion, what you think the best food city in the country is. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to David in Pasadena. David, hello.
Hey, Randy, how you doing?
Doing great.
Hey, so let me start off by saying I was in the Navy, and my first cruise went around the world, and I made a couple other deployments after that, so I've tasted a whole lot of stuff. I've been to all 50 states. I have not been to New York City, of all places, but I would have to think that has probably got to be the best food city. But what I've heard already, Denver, somebody brought up Denver. Denver's great, especially if you go during Great American Beer Festival. Chicago during Taste of Chicago. But of my list, I think New Orleans is by far the best.
New Orleans is the top for you.
Oh, yeah. It's just got such a variety of foods and styles and types and things like that. You can take food classes. I learned how to make pralines and etouffee and everything like that. Every time I go, I always do something different.
Oh, that's so much fun.
It is. It's great. And one of the other things I do is when I travel, I'll look up my destination however I'm getting there. I use Guy Fieri Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives as my menu source. I basically look up anything that he's been to and try all these little diners, drive-ins, and dives that he hits. And mark them off. And some of these places are amazing.
You know, it's so funny you say that. I do that too. And anytime I'm on vacation in a hotel room, I look for the food channel, and it's always a marathon of Guy Fieri, and I watch a ton of them over and over again. But when I went to Tucson and Phoenix, of all places, the restaurants that I went to were specifically ones that I saw on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Drives, and I had a fantastic time. Guy Fieri has the best job in the world.
Oh, it is. I want to be his, right-hand guy. But, for instance, my son and I went up to Ashland for the Shakespeare Festival, and there's this little dinky Indonesian restaurant that has 2 tables, and it was amazing. And then on the way back, there's an oil city just before the Grapevine coming back down from north, and Taft. They have the best Asian/pizza, best pad thai that I can imagine outside of Thailand.
Wow. I am actively looking up flights to New Orleans March of next year. This sounds great. What is your favorite dish in New Orleans?
It's got to be gumbo. Or I got to. So a couple of months ago, we went to the Jimmy Buffett tribute at the Hollywood Bowl, and I got tasked with coming up with the menu. So I was kind of doing a whole lot of New Orleans Creole Cajun type of stuff. I built a muffaletta, which is a sandwich with a lot of processed meats and cheeses and a lot of tapenade, olive tapenade and everything like that. Had some left over, threw it in the freezer, and I pulled it out a couple of weeks ago. It's just as good after sitting in the freezer. So muffalettas are amazing, but gumbo.
Oh, I got to tell you, David, I got to tell you, this is the funniest thing. So this is a couple years ago. My one of my best friends in the world, Cassie, was craving a muffaletta, but you can't really get them out here. So she went on that website Goldbelly, where you can get like specialty things shipped to you, but you have to spend a certain amount of money to make it worth it. So she bought $200 worth of muffalettas, didn't know what to do with it because she did this while she was, let's just say, inebriated. So she just knocked on my door one day and gave me 2 sandwiches, like, okay, I'll have them.
Oh, yeah. Sounds good.
Oh, it's the best. David, thank you so much for the call. You made my stomach rumble, and I'm so excited to get my butt out to New Orleans. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. That is 2 votes for New Orleans now. I'm not surprised. 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's go to Ken in Newport Beach. Ken, hello.
Hey, Randy, thanks for taking my call. I have to say, I was going to say Newport Beach because there's a lot of great variety of restaurants, and you got the ocean view. That's one of the highlights of dining in Newport. But I cannot believe Las Vegas did not make that list.
Oh, I mean, Vegas has everything.
Well, they have probably some of the top chefs in the world. I really am just shocked that Vegas did not get it. If not one of the top cities. I mean, there's so many different food experiences. I mean, I think you can even call it food porn.
Oh, yeah, and I follow a lot of them. Specifically, I follow Golden Steer on Instagram, and they constantly are showing those videos either of the steaks or the fancy waiter who makes the Caesar salad, and it just makes me want to go there right now.
Exactly. Nobu is one of my favorites. I mean, STK. I mean, I could go on and on. Mastro's, Ocean Club. I mean, Joe's Crab. I mean, Joe's Stone Crab. There's only a few of them around. There's I think it's Miami, Chicago, and Vegas. There's only I think 3 places. But they have some of the best stone crab, I've ever had.
It is interesting, right? Some of the best restaurants in the world have a location now in Vegas. Like you just said, Nobu. I've been to that Nobu at the Hard Rock, and I specifically remember because this is when I was not making any money whatsoever. I had just barely been dating my girlfriend, who's now my wife, and we went with a whole bunch of people. It was like 10 people, and they did the thing where you don't even know what's on the menu. They keep making you things left and right. At the time, that was the most expensive meal I've ever had. And I know because when I saw the bill, I checked my bank account like, boy, I can just barely pay for this, and I've got $2 left.
I know. I actually got hit pretty hard there. I took a group of doctors out, a group of 6, and it was about $4,500.
Wow. I mean, it is a meal you'll never forget. I'll tell you that. So Vegas, I love the suggestion. I got to get my butt back out to Vegas. I'm thinking about it in January. Ken, thank you so much for the call. Appreciate it. And yeah, Newport Beach, beautiful paradise down there. I'm jealous that he lives there. I live in the Valley. We'll keep going with your phone calls, your suggestions on the best food cities in the United States. 800-222-KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. In the commercial breaks, I'm just planning all my travel for next year based on your calls. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love talking travel. I love talking food. Let's go back to the phones as we discuss the best food cities in America and go to Tommy in Burbank. Tommy, hello.
Hey, how are you, man?
Doing great.
Okay, from New Orleans, been in the LA area for about 5 years now. Have not been able to find anything kind of authentic. I know something is out there, but you have to try Shortstop Po' Boy in the suburbs of New Orleans and get a roast beef French bread sandwich, and they put French fries on top of it sometimes.
You can't go wrong with that.
No. And you got to try a soft shell crab, which is the whole crab fried in its adolescent stage, and on French bread with some Tabasco and some ketchup, and it's to die for. So you got to try that before you go through your life. You must go through New Orleans and try those things, and then you can kind of say your palate is complete. There is no imitation of the original. I think that of all the things in New Orleans, that's the music and the food is designed sort of to be that way. You just can't duplicate it. It's very hard to visit there and then go back to wherever you're from and try to recreate it. It's just not going to happen. So, but LA is great with, the varieties of things that are here and stuff, but it would sure be nice if someone could open a po' boy shop here and with the original French bread. And the fella had mentioned muffaladas. That's not my thing, but that's really big in New Orleans. We have a pretty big Italian-German population there. And so that's basically how it goes. As far as vegetables go, we throw cabbage in the Irish-Italian parade. And I'm not, we're not too big. We're not too big on vegetables in New Orleans. I mean, the gumbo comes with it and stuff like that, but you only live once, don't want to live forever. And that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it. And I'd like to say one thing. I can imitate some things that I hear. And on the shows earlier today, I believe it's this station, where they sample politicians' voices. That's the show earlier, I think. And they use the mayor of Oakland and the different spokespersons and the messy things that they say. And I think it's just totally cool how they do that. And there's the one sample that they go, who are you supposed to call, Superman?
That is a fantastic impression of my Superman guy. He's the best. Who are we supposed to call, Superman?
Yeah, Superman. I'm an old DJ. I was the only House of Blues DJ in the country that was allowed to play with the big bands and close the shows and all that kind of thing. And so I used to sample my voice sometimes in the DJ booth, and I would do that, and then I would slowly duck down behind the booth, and I would sample my voice in the song, and then I would rise up to see if anyone was looking my way, and that was sort of a sign that I was getting away with it.
Who else do we go call, Superman?
There it is, yeah.
Well, Tommy, thank you so much for all the suggestions and for giving me a little giggle there. Call us again. We'd love to talk to you. Thanks so much for the call. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on Talk Radio 790 KABC. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC. Let's get back to the phones and go to Billy in Glendale. Billy, hello.
Randy, I love your show. I'm a holdover from your days with Leanne and Doug. Listen, I don't know who compiled this list, but I certainly question it because of the fact Oakland, as you and I know, Oakland's very dangerous. I wouldn't dare venture to that city because I don't care about getting mugged or murdered. But I'm in agreement with Ken as well, but I just have a different approach to it. Las Vegas certainly is it. Randy, I'm a guy who loves to indulge, and they got some of the best no-nonsense buffets there, and they're not watered down. Everything from barbecue to seafood, the Asian, the Italian, it's all right there, and the desserts come with it.
Okay, now in your opinion, Billy, which casino has the best buffet in Vegas? Ooh, that should be a whole topic on its own.
Well, yes, there are a lot, but I like to go to downtown because that's where the real people hang out, and it's certainly much more affordable. But the only place I would go on the Strip is at Treasure Island because there's one night right there where they have barbecue. They have everything from brisket, which is pretty decent actually, to ribs, and they got all sorts of barbecue entrees, side dishes there such as mac and cheese, collard greens. So it's all included right there, and it's one of the best. Treasure Islands Buffet Barbecue Night, I believe it's on a Wednesday night. But you cannot go wrong with breakfast, lunch, and dinner over there in downtown. I like going to the California because Crab Night is beautiful right there. And also they have a Hawaiian restaurant right there in California. I forget what it's called, but everybody knows it. But they have some of the best oxtail soup right there.
Oh, yum, yum, yum. Sounds amazing, Billy. Now you got me really wanting to get my butt to Vegas, which I think I might go in January. Billy, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. We got time for one more call. Let's go to Shauna in Oceanside. Shauna, hello.
Hi, Randy. I have a kind of surprising pick for you, and I'm going to say Portland, Oregon.
Portland, Oregon. I know nothing about Portland's food scene. Educate me.
It's amazing. My sister's up there, so I've had a chance to go up quite a few times. They have all these James Beard winning chefs, restaurants. I went to this place called Kan, K-A-A-N, I think, and it's Haitian food, some of the best food I've had in my life. There's another one, Long Bon, which is they do 2 seatings a night, and it's like a 10-course Thai meal for like $100. So good. They change the menu every quarter or so. Great neighborhood spots, surprisingly good pizza throughout the city. And there's some like great classic steak and prime rib places like Clyde's and Ringside, and just amazing cocktail scene. Plus, you have the Willamette wine area. So you being a wine drinker, you can go wine tasting like 45 minutes from Portland. So beautiful, so good, reasonable prices, really low-key, down-to-earth staff. Like we were laughing about going to Con, what the scene would be like if it was in LA, and it would have been a scene. It wouldn't have been about the food, but it's just really great food.
Oh, that all sounds incredible. I'm glad you reminded me about the Willamette Valley, because that is on my list. And now you give me 2 reasons to visit the Portland area and get my butt up to the Pacific Northwest. Shauna, thank you so much for the call. Have a great weekend.
Sure thing, Randy. Thanks, you too.
Well, that was so much fun, and we'll be doing this topic again because I can't wait to see who votes next year. Make sure you participate in that vote because I'd love to see who emerges as the top 10. I was surprised San Francisco wasn't on there. I thought San Francisco is a fantastic food city. You know what my favorite food city in the country is, and that's Santa Fe, New Mexico. And if you don't know anything about it, go to the podcast, KABC.com/newsblitz. One of the earliest happy hour shows we did was all about Santa Fe. You can check it out. Have a great weekend, everybody. It's the News Blitz with Randy Wang on KABC.